This is a story about a boy and a girl and their story together. Just listen. Once upon a time there was a boy and a girl that met at a young age, just the start of first grade. They got along well, it was right from the start. They was like best friends, you couldn't keep them apart. They did everything together and they listened to each other, and their bond was so amazing, it was like sister and brother. Everybody thought that they would be a couple, but every time they heard that, they just chuckled. Fast forward, it's a few years later. They both got older, but the bond got greater. Times were different back then. It was no phones, it was just them. But then things started to get different. The guy started to change and the girl got distant. They were still friends, but not like before. But then the guy realized he wanted more. He realized that he wanted her, but he didn't say a word, cause he wasn't sure. He thought she might think it's kind of obscure, so he just kept things how they were. But he didn't know how to cope with it, didn't know if he could get over it. He just tried to forget it, and at some point he had to accept it. This went on for about 8 years, but he got fed up, did something on New Year's Eve. He had something up his sleeve. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He was finally gonna tell her how he feel. He even wrote a song. He tried to keep it real. He convinced himself that whatever she said, he would respect it. He had to accept it. The night finally came. He poured his heart out. You were just someone that I can't live without. A world without you is like a lake without a trout. A world without you is like a bus without a route. And he stood there, just waiting for a response. But then she said, he's not the guy that she wants. And she walked away. He knew he lost a friend. He thought this was the end. It hurt, but it felt good that he expressed all those thoughts. Finally got it off his chest. But he began to feel depressed, sometimes possessed. Meanwhile, the girl, she kinda felt bad. She didn't feel the same way, but couldn't forget about the memories they had. But over time, she began to catch feelings. She had a thing for Steven. But at that point, it was way too late. She was off to college, going to Georgia State. But she began to feel that regret. He was the nicest guy that she'd ever met. She was tired of how things have been, so decided to go back to Michigan just for him. Decided to surprise him at his home. She had hoped he was alone, and he was, but maybe that wasn't a good thing. She opened the door and he was on the floor, lying, covered in blood. She screamed what happened and ran to his side. Couldn't say a word, he really tried. But he was able to muster a few things. I love you, Kaylee. And he was gone. He was gone from the world. He had to cry.